They subdued the security guard and made their way into the server room. Looking around, yeah, this is what we need. Planted a thermite charge. And as you know, thermite does crazy things to metal, especially softer, precious metals. Planted the charge, left the room. Didn't matter about the surveillance, they were all masked, no way to discern one from the other, and left briefly. The charge went off, melted down all the servers, all that information saved. And this wasn't the only site it was happening to. This was a large group, a large op. Nationwide, even overseas. And it wasn't just Meta. It wasn't just X, formerly known as Twitter. It wasn't just Google or TikTok. It was all up. And now, in this modern world, there's no social media. People lost all their videos, their pictures, everything. Some people pretty much lost their way of living life. Completely online, gone. They're now faced with a brave new world. These younger people, because of social media and phones and just the online connectivity, I feel like they just never develop their, physical identity. Like, they don't know how to interact physically anymore. And you see, like, whenever they're in front of somebody and confused, it's like just this fight or flight mode comes on and they become combative, where they just go and hide and disappear. And it's like people my age and older get so frustrated with kids these days and like, be stupid. And it's aggravating because all these people are coming into the workforce and they were just not taught or not forced to have a physical identity and know how to physically interact with people. And man, like that's a big thing. Like that, it's heavy to think about. I think about it every day, and every time I go to a restaurant and sit down and it's like a younger Gen Zer, it wouldn't be long before Gen Alpha's, taking on some of these jobs. And this tail end of Gen Zers, it is just a different ball game with them. And I don't fault them. Like, I understand the problem, but people that don't think about this stuff, they don't understand them. This podcast is fueled by attention deficit disorder. You're listening to the Hidesite podcast, your lo-fi way to hear everything Minuteman, philosophies, gear, guns, the things you love, the things you eat, sleep, and breathe, tactics, and just plain fun. We're going to have some fun things on here, some maybe fictional stories, different things like that, and we'll definitely be having guests on in the near future. So buckle up, listen to me yarn for a little while, and go ahead and drop in the comment section your opinion of the matter. Welcome to the Hidesite podcast. I'm your host, XXL Dude. This is my B channel style podcast. That's kind of a companion to my main YouTube channel. That's under the title of XXL Dude. I'm also on Instagram. If you like tactical gear and guns and whatnot. I know this one's kind of a little out of left field. Yeah. Today we're going to talk about the problem with social media. I hope you like that intro. Let me know, do your little thing, go type it down in the comments below, and, or whatever platform you're using should have a comment section. hit me up with your thoughts on what we're talking about. That's social media overall. It's become this powerhouse in the last, and it's 2025 as of the year this is being recorded, and it's a good solid 20 years that it's been going strong and evolving. I think I touched on it a little bit in my cheap budget AR-15s podcast episode. And if you hadn't, you definitely want to check it out. That's a pretty good one. Kind of our maiden voyage here, but by the time you're finding this one, maybe I don't know which one's going to do great. So they say with launching a YouTube channel, it's good to launch 3 to 5 videos with it. So obviously, if you're on some other forums, I have older podcasts and whatnot, probably linked up with this one. But this is kind of like my epiphany area. I guess you could say I'm kind of approaching things with fresh eyes. So it's not going to be a rehash of old things. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And then it's pretty much new content from here on out, and things of the nature that we're going to look at it from kind of more or less a preparedness, philosophical, mindset, Minuteman type stuff, but, err on the side more of preparedness. So today, like I said, we're talking about social media, and in that other episode we did about the AR-15s, I talked a lot on there how, somebody might post their budget AR and just somebody will come in with a better, superior brand and just shit on all, somebody with this PSA or Anderson or, even now today, and kind of addressed in that video, the Aero Precision. And it's just crazy. And I used to kind of think it was oscillated to one platform or another. Even though they're both on my Meta, Facebook and Instagram. Instagram seems to be a lot better with to gun culture in certain ways. Now, there's in certain ways, of course, if you're a business selling firearms, it's just damn near impossible to do such on social media. That it's just such a liberal land lockdown, and we'll try to be as apolitical here as we can, because I know some of you have a hard time with truth. That's as far as I'll go. I don't want to lose you on this, but there's problems on both sides. Make no mistake. There's major problems on both sides. If you're here, you probably understand that. But the thing is, something I have been more Facebook based. I've been on there. I was on there since 2009. I did a lot of live streaming on there and things of that nature, just having fun, doing a lot of 2A rights type stuff there back in 2020, linked up with a lot of cool people, met a lot of cool people. I'm not going to bore you with the specifics of it, but yeah, I did that and it was fun. And the lives used to be legit on there. Going live, it would let everybody know. It was very easy to get I think the highest one time I got maybe 1,000 viewers in one sitting. And that's just insane. It's insane to think of now. If you don't already have a following, to get 1,000 people to watch a live that you're doing on there now, you probably need somewhere around, 40 or 50,000 followers. It just doesn't. Social media in general has just become this pay to play beast. I gave up trying to figure it out. For the longest, I was, I want to be a content creator. I'm not going to dance around the fact of it. But here's the thing, I don't want to do it as a job or anything. It's more or less a hobby, but I enjoy, video type things. I enjoy firearms. I enjoy cars. I enjoy video games. I'd love to do content on cars, but cars are very freaking expensive. And there's really, and that's something I consume a lot of car, automotive, YouTube stuff. And a lot of that posting is erratic. Not that I'm not erratic myself. Like I kind of just poop one out whenever I feel like it, or I feel like I, have something I need to say. That's kind of what this is for. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be B-roll. It's not going to be polished, folks. So you're getting me, 100% me. So if you like me, cool. If you don't, well, I mean, there's about 999 million other podcasts, right? And so something I noticed with Facebook, a big issue now, and it started, like it started getting rolling with the vid whenever it was hitting, because there's a lot of people, a lot of your older people migrated to it. I guess Facebook kind of was just easier for them to use, is accessible. They may have already had one. And when I say older people, I mean like senior citizens. And, everybody that has a grandma or has had everybody knows somebody that's probably a senior citizen, and they know that they do not give a shit what they say. They don't care what feelings they hurt. They're just to that point in their life that they don't care, and they'll just say whatever. Well, I don't know. It's like everybody on Facebook is that way now. Everybody wants to be freaking snarky about something. Like, could post a picture of me holding a fish, and they would argue in the comments that that's not a big fish, this is a big fish, and they would argue about the size of the fish and and the species of the fish. It would be a giant argument, and just back and forth. And I could sit here and plainly say in the video or in the picture, I could say that this is a striped bass. It's a high Alabama striped hybrid bass. I caught it. I was there. It's in my hands. And they would turn around and argue with me about the species and say, no, you don't know what you're talking about. That's a hybrid, striped bass, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, what? Sorry, I messed that up there. Alabama spotted bass. But either way, that may or may not have happened. Who knows? Most of you who listen to this may or may not be on my Facebook, but I've had many instances of this. And I even had something as far to say on the Instagram that it was a gut check for me on the upside. But it's horrifying. Like, there was this video that come out recently. Now, I don't know when I'm dropping these, but it was very recently, like a week or two ago, that this video dropped where there was a big protest and a lot of people there. I couldn't really tell the setting, but there was a lot of people there rallying. And there's this chick that was clearly of a certain mindset up there, screaming stuff, interrupting the protest. And I'm not 100% sure on the whole situation, but I think it was her own people that she's interrupting and screaming and just kind of being a brat, being childish, kind of the way they operate. And, this dude comes in and he's wearing a shirt that says, I am the weapon. This is like, me being in my mid 30s, like this is like stuff you would see like on comedy TV, Comedy Central, skit, SNL stuff, like circa early 2000s. But this dude comes up in a shirt that says, I am the weapon, and just reaches back to freaking South Carolina and slaps the ever-loving shit out of this woman. And everybody's up there trying to break it up and all that. But it is just hilarious because this shirt, like, he walks up there and like he's older and he's just kind of hobbling and barely making it up the steps, and gets up there. The woman's just like watching him coming. She's just sitting there like watching him. And he's got this shirt on that's like, it's classic, like laugh out loud, funny. And, does that and slaps her. And I made the comment in the video, and I think it was on like the Typical Liberal or something like that. It's Instagram. And I made the comment of, act like a child throwing a tantrum, get treated like a child throwing a tantrum. And boy, did these moms, and most of them were, they felt the need in their Instagram profile to put that they're relocated California moms. Why'd you move out of California? Huh? Tell me. Why? And they're like, absolutely, this is not how, you treat children, blah, 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 blah. Mind you, this is on this video that I'm talking. And they're just going, like, several of them are in the comments going nuts. Like, the comments getting a lot of likes. So obviously the algorithm's going to bump that comment up. And just all the comments or replies to my comment are all just negative. Like, you would think that I just posted a video of me or, somebody abusing a child and agreeing with it, when these were clearly two adults, an adult woman and an adult man, that the dude hit her. And I mean, and it was I'm not trying to justify this in any way. Like, at a protest, you shouldn't fight. But these people are just going nuts about the treatment of children and saying, like, somebody needs to find out if this dude talking about me has children and get them away from him ASAP. Yeah. All because of an Instagram. Think about it. So these people, there was one specific one that went through my Instagram, and like I said, this is completely on me as a gut check, and I had information on there about where I had lived and just different information, and that person was able to go through and backtrack it and find my Facebook. I had a breach, family breach of Facebook thing where I try to keep everything private. You should too. Like, if you're going to do anything that emits a greater than just I'm a pleb online signature, and signals is a big thing, y'all. Signal signature, anything like that online that you're going to have, a following, whether it be tens, hundreds, or whatever, you need to look into making sure your shit's locked down. And this was a failure on my end. Now I go through every month and check, and I'll Google my name, Google family member's name and everything, and remove any information, like, even if it's like stuff where I lived 10 years, I don't care. I don't want my shit out because, like, there's some weirdos out there like this. Like, I can't make comment on Instagram without people, like some psycho Karen probably sitting in, downtown LA looking for me on Facebook, and manages, and leaks out some information, not a lot of accurate information, but she leaks out information, pretty much essentially tries to dox me in the comments, and then, mentions a city that I used to live in, and that they should check on, one of my kids' well-being, because that's all that was showing up. And I'm just sitting here like, it made me sick to my stomach, showed my wife, made her sick. She couldn't believe it, like, made her extremely infuriated. And it just, if stuff like this is called in to the state or wherever, I mean, for most law enforcement, they have to go and investigate, or even worse, like, somebody could be an idiot and try to sue people, and that's going on big time now. Just a big harassment thing. And as far as social media and online goes, like, that's a big breakdown to me. Like, there needs to be protections, and like, it baffles me. It baffles me that during, something, and all the way up until this previous election, sorry, I'm watching a score. I told you guys, fueled by attention deficit disorder, but watching a squirrel out here climb up my tree. And they could take down posts about the vid during that time and post fact checks and stuff about election, inconsistencies and different things of that nature. And it was just insane how social media could control that. They could control what people commented. They can see if something was turning into a fight. They can stop bad words. Can't even, say bad words on there anymore, and not even meaning to be offensive. You can't even do that anymore, but you can leak somebody's information. And it's like, okay, think about this. Addresses to where somebody lives or has lived, they all follow a certain format, right? when I don't know how many of y'all do this, but if you're writing mailing a letter and you're putting your letterhead on there and whatnot for the address, like it's the address, the road, or the address number, the road, and then the city, date, and zip, right? And then the country, the bottom. And, this format, it would not be hard for an algorithm to recognize that and say, whoop, you're trying to put somebody's information out here and it's in the public eye. We're going to not allow you to post this comment. I mean, we live in the world of ChatGPT and all this super AI and can do insane shit. And we can't even stop the scammers and people that's like get into other people's accounts. Like there was actually an Instagram account and it almost had me because a couple of years ago, I was new to like doing the gun stuff on Instagram. Like I mostly got on there and just looked at, it's just random stuff. It's like, to me, like for the longest, Instagram was Facebook with pictures or more pictures, right? I mean, that's all it was. And so I kind of started realizing the more I did like gun-based YouTube, that the more of the gun tubers are there. They're on Instagram. So yeah, of course. Like, so I get on there and I start jobbing with it too. It's like, and if you're going to get into the gun tube sphere or even like something else along those lines, like automotive or whatever, like I feel like, and that's the catchback of social media and whatnot too. It's a good place to run your B-roll, like stuff that, may not make your main stuff. And then a lot of people run their A game on there too. Like I suppose there's a way like you can be efficient and, brand promote. There's plenty of influencers out there that are on that platform too. But, for the gun tubers and whatnot, it's a cool place to run B-roll, like stuff that may not quite be able to make it in there. And it actually gets you, this is something that I really like because it's kind of like how Twitter used to be. But then, so many people are on Twitter that the big people didn't care. But one of the biggest things about Twitter back in the day was you would be on there and then, somebody famous would be on there. Keanu Reeves, I don't even think he really has a Twitter, but I'm just going to use him as an example here. Keanu Reeves is on there and it's like, he may post something or you may at him and he may actually reply back to it. And it's like, holy crap. Like now I can actually have a, short, sweet conversation with somebody that, I look up to or follow or, is somewhat a mentor to me or something along those lines or something like that, you're a fan of. And, you have that connected, ability to it. And that's some of the golden things of social media. We'll get into the bad here shortly. But yeah, I mean, you can kind of do that right now with Instagram because GunTube is not like Hollywood stardom. We're kind of, the underdogs of social media and culture. They try to demonize gun culture so much, but so many people still keep coming to it that, I mean, as long as that it's still in movies, which movies are going a weird way right now when it comes to firearms, and it's still somewhat in video games. Games are going a weird way. Like there's a lot of guns out there that are big and popular now because of Call of Duty, and they're using AI to make similar like guns, but not. And they're claiming that it's, they don't want copyright or lawsuits or blah, blah, blah from manufacturers. I don't think it's that. Any manufacturer knows that that's free advertisement. Like any manufacturer that's paid attention the past 20 years knows that like they would willfully allow them to use one of their firearms in the game because it's only free advertisement. If you want my opinion on the matter. But, that's what they say, but we all know what they're really trying. It's like dehumanization that they talk about too. Like they're going to just put it to the point where guns are not attractive. Like you mark my words, that's what it's going to get to is like firearms and media will not be attractive anymore. It's like, I'm telling you, like back in the day in the 90s, you didn't get ARs without sights on them. I mean, and you didn't. They put a lot of thought, like take Heat, for instance. They put a lot of thought into every element of that movie. That's what made it great. Like it was just thought about, like, some of the stuff was simple, but you could tell thought was put into it. And make no mistake, they're doing this too. And it starts with social media. Like they can do this thing of stopping us from being able to make a post. And like I was talking about on the doxing, they can do this. They can stop the people scamming people and everything else. And I'm coming back around to the Instagram thing where I almost got had by a scammer. But I think that it may get that bad where we won't be able to post our guns on social media. Like it's trending that way. Like TikTok buries you, and that's the thing that they'll do too, is like, you'll be blacklisted and not even know it. You'll just think like, man, nobody likes my content anymore because I don't get like, but maybe 1 or 2 likes. And those are only from the people that literally like, oh, I haven't seen XXL dude post in a while. So I'll go and look on his thing and say, oh, well, he has been posting and like it, but it's not showing up. They just simply pull it out of the feed. And you have no clue that this is going on. They call it shadow, but it happens a lot. I've noticed it. I've had it happen to me many times on Facebook where I would see people in public and they're like, how come you don't post anymore? I'm like, oh, I do. And then I'll show them and they're like, I didn't see any of this. I was like, I know, I'm shadow banned. Like, it's not going to show you because I guess I pushed the envelope or whatever. And so back to the scammer, like there was a dude posting stuff on Instagram, and it was like kit and gear and vision and things like that, and just up for sale. And some of the prices were like the actual going rate. And then it's like he posted a pair or a PVS 7, I don't know if you can say that plural or not. PVS 7s are weird because it's like only one objective tube, but you're looking through two and it comes out into one. I mean, if you know what a PVS 7 is, you know what I'm talking about. So I don't know if you could exactly say PVS 7s, but he posted, PVS 7 night vision goggles, and they were at a good price. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, cheap, but they were not like crazy. Like it's like, hey, I could afford that. Like that's not a bad price. And it's, it's about normal for Gen 2 Plus 2. And I'm like, cause I'm wanting to get night vision. And I don't know, like I'm in a Facebook group, night vision only, whatever Facebook group where people buy, sell, and trade night vision. And a lot of people go over the scams to make people aware, because this group has like over 100,000 people. And, they go over the things to look for. And like when you direct message people, ask them to do, this or that or whatever. That way, it's legit. And like maybe even do a video and have a picture of their face and them talking about it and get them to say your name or whatever, with the item. Just there's different ways to prove, like today's newspaper with it and your name written on today's newspaper with the item, sitting on top of the news. Stuff that's hard to fake, right? And I was looking at this and talking to them, and it's just, and here's the thing, like if you're doing any kind of online dealing, they're going to try to bait you with just such a good deal. And like right off the rip, like I inquired about it and they're like, is the price okay? Like I can take a little less. I'm like, well, that's weird. I've sold stuff like on Marketplace and everything. And I don't just like immediately tell people like, hey, I'll take less than what I'm asking for this. Like that's not how you do business. And it just seemed weird. And like, that gut feeling. And anytime you get that with online dealing, it's just, I would just walk. I wouldn't even indulge anymore. If they're really good, they'll know how to sucker you in and con you on it, but walk. But yeah, like this dude did that, and I just, asked for some proof pics or whatever, and they just kind of just sent me the same pics all over again. And it's like, well, if you like Google, PVS 7 for sale and look, and lo and behold, here's the pic. And they actually skim these groups like what I was in on Facebook and steal other people's posts and post them on there. So, and this isn't just night vision. It's common. It's any kind of higher value item that's hundreds to thousands of dollars. That's where they're going to try to get you. And it's like, yeah, like Facebook, especially when it comes to people's money, and not just Facebook, but social media period, they could stop this stuff. They have the ability. You can't tell me, like, with the monumental amount of money that they spent, over the years on certain, pandemics and things like that to curb, you can't tell me that they don't have the ability, to stop stuff like this from going on. So the underside scourge of social media, like I don't know. I don't even know what you could call this last little conversation we're having here about it. But something that like I've talked to family members, to younger people I've worked with, or that's worked for me, or I know kids coming into being teenage, and the effect social media is having on kids is pretty crazy. Like being an adult now and approaching middle age and being able to look back and just having some of that wisdom in life, like you kind of see things, you think about things you went through, and like you see that now younger people are not driving at 15, 16. They don't have like a desire to drive. My wife works for a place that, some people just Uber to work. They don't even own a vehicle. They're younger, 20s. They don't even own a vehicle. And they don't even drive. They just take an Uber to work. And it's just that's a concept. And I kind of explained to her, because I had some management experience, and we'll get into that one day. Got to leave a little mystery for you guys to keep coming back, right? I got to leave a little bit out there. And so these younger people, because of social media and phones and just the online connectivity, I feel like they just never develop their, physical identity. Like they don't know how to interact physically anymore. And you see, like, whenever they're in front of somebody and confused, it's like just this fight or flight mode comes on, and they become combative, where they just go and hide and disappear. And it's like people my age and older get so frustrated with kids these days, and like, be stupid. And it's aggravating, because all these people are coming into the workforce and they were just not taught or not forced to have a physical identity and know how to physically interact with people. And man, like that's a big thing. Like that, it's heavy to think about. I think about it every day, and every time I go to a restaurant and sit down, and it's like a younger Gen Zer, it won't be long before Gen Alpha's, taking on some of these jobs. And this tail end of Gen Zers, it is just a different ball game with them. And I don't fault them. Like, I understand the problem, but people that don't think about this stuff, they don't understand the problem. And I mean, is it fully social media's fault that they're this way? No, not exactly. But it's like kids now, like you go to an appointment or something, like a doctor's appointment or whatever, and there's kids there, and it's like people will give their kids tablets and phones to pacify them. I'm not knocking that exactly. I'm not. I mean, you really need to know, what you're handing your kid, the gateway to the universe. I mean, essentially. And it seems like there's a lot of things out there now that prey on the innocence of children. And it's almost like you see adults with this, like, go anywhere that is populated, that there is people, like a coffee shop, restaurant, whatever, and just kind of go alone one day, do your area recon. Urban recon is fun. You can gray man it, blend in, go downtown with no reason except to just look and watch people and see what's going on. Like, do that once a month. Do it once a month. And just go and sit and watch how many people are just on their phones 24/7. And it's social media. Like, it's some form of social media that they're just on, living their life. Like, it's no longer we're walking in and meeting each other and like, small talk about the weather and things that are going on. And like, I watch this and I see like the older people that, they may not even have a cell phone, or they get a flip phone or something like that. And they ask somebody, this weather's crazy, or, how about the Yankees or the Braves or whatever? And like the people look up from their phone, like, just like you're inconveniencing. It's just an inconvenience that you're trying to have a social, physical interaction, an interaction you'll never get again. Like all the social media interactions, they're all the same. Nothing really new that comes up on there. But you could interact with a complete stranger. I know this sounds weird, but it's the only time that it'll happen, and it'll probably never happen again. Like there's something unique and kind of poetic about that, if you think about that. And just this form of life, like it's life that I grew up to. Like, like social media didn't exist until like I was almost out of high school. And, really like out of high school. And that's just kind of how we kept in touch after that. But it just grew and grew into this thing now where people are fully living their lives. That's it. Like they're doing things and taking pictures just for the sake of getting that, 15 to 20, maybe 100 likes. That's it. That's the thing that, I don't know. There's just not anything fulfilling about that to me. I'm not sitting here on a high podium and saying this type of stuff. Like I'm guilty of it too. Like I've caught myself in things like that. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I going through all this trouble? Why am I burning up like, all this and being a certain kind of way and having anxiety about it and whatnot? Like I need to just relax. Like I need to live in the moment. And you need to listen to those cues in your brain, because the reality is I feel like social media is rewiring us. It's programming us. I really do. Like, yeah, this is some Alex Jones type shit. But the more I look around and look at society, it's like people don't interact the way they used to. Buddies don't hang out the way they used to. It now feels more like the Matrix than 1999 did when it came out. I wasn't saying that when it came out. And it's insane at how, prophecy fulfilling that's become. Like we're all living through this online mode because like real life just is so terrible. I don't know. It's weird. Like when I go out into the woods, for like a patrol or a recon or just a shakedown of my gear, or I go out to the woods to just do a little bit of firearms training, some target shooting. And I don't bring my shit with me. It's one thing I love about my go-to range for like zeroing is there's no signal. So phones don't really matter at all. Like, yeah, it's there because I'm a little ways away from home, but there's no signal there, thank God. And it's like just something about that crossing into no signal. But man, I feel like we are getting so freaking dependent on this. It's disturbing, like terribly disturbing how dependent we're getting on this technology and using it for interaction. And I mean, that's part of like, there's a catch here. There's a caveat. And, that's part of like why the YouTube and the GunTube sphere works. And like it works for me is because people would rather, or they only have time for that, or they, they don't have enough friends that are interested in it where they can kind of have these conversations. They don't have buds to hang out with all the time or anymore. And that's their form and ways and method of hanging out. Part of me, man, and this, I hate that I'm putting this at the tail end because a lot of you won't listen to it, are listening to it. Please, hit the subscribe or the follow, whatever medium you're listening to this on, and comment down below that you made it to the end. And part of me like just wonders, like just the opening parts, the opening narrative, that what if, something took out internet, social media, where would we be? We'd have to resort back to books. And I'm slowly, like I'm building up a book collection. I'm reading. I'll try to read, the last 20, 30 minutes at night before I go to sleep. It helps me kind of get in that mode to go to sleep because it's just the phone is just there. And it's like crack. It's like it puts your brain on crack. Like if you spend enough time away from it and put it down, and especially the social media aspect, because what is it that we default to? We're defaulting to that social media. And man, it's just, you got to break away. Like if you're going to be in the preparedness, it's going to be a hard cope if things were to happen and go down and the grid was to go down or whatever. It's going to be a very hard cope for you. You're going to have that, what do they call it? Detox time. So why not just kind of do the light detox now and try to limit, if you got to delete the app and actually you have to go through your phone or whatever, on your browser to get to, maybe do that. I turn off notifications. That's something that has helped tremendously with the whole social media thing. Is I don't have any notifications. Like the only notifications I have are like for my text messages and like if somebody calls me, and emails, of course. But that's it. I don't have any kind of app notifications. I'm like, you know what? I'll check it when I feel like checking it. Like even like Facebook Messenger, Signal, and everything else. Like, unless I like, and Signal, I kind of flip-flop back and forth between them, because if we've got a situation that I need active updates on, yes, I'll switch it back on. But then when I'm done, I just turn it off. Like if there's nothing really going on or anything like that. If it's an emergency, like a crazy emergency, my POCs have my, point of contact. They know how to get to me and say, hey, check the chat, and so that's there, and they'll just do that. They need my attention ASAP. I don't have to leak any information, but they just got to say, hey, check the chat. And then we go in there and check it out. But limiting your social media exposure is going to like only have better outcomes for your life. If your physical relationships with people are strained, it's probably because you've shifted to spend more time on social media, and it's robbing you of time. I don't know. Like there's this thing going on right now, and I know I'm not the only isolated thing, because I've talked to complete strangers about it, and we just had this feeling like time is speeding up. It's going by way faster than it used to. Like it used to, like now it feels like a week is a day. Like when we were younger, pre crazy cell phone stuff, the way time speeds by, like I feel like a week is going in no time now, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And when you're younger, it felt like it took forever for a day to pass you by. And now, I mean, it's a week's gone, you're into the new year, you're looking, your kids are growing up, like they're not little kids anymore, they're not toddlers anymore. And you're just, here is this time home. Why is this speeding up? And I look at it and it's like, what if social media is like that part in Interstellar, like where they go down onto that planet and they're only there for like, was it like 3 hours? And it's like years, like 20 years or 8 years or something like that passed back on the ship and passed on Earth. And they were only there for 3 hours. And I'm like, is social media doing that to us? Is it programming us for one, but it's also sucking so much time and productivity out of us? Like, are we getting the little jobs that we want done accomplished anymore? Or are we just getting into that time suck on TikTok, like that endless freaking death scroll? And then, you start on it, you get home from work and it's 6 o'clock and you start looking at TikTok, and next thing you know, it's 8 o'clock and you're like, holy shit, I've been looking at TikToks for 2 hours. 2 hours. I think that's what's robbing us. We're literally being robbed of our time, because we're not necessarily paying monetary gains for this, but we're on there and then showing us stuff. And then at some point you look back and you're buying the stuff that it's showing you, or you're buying some form of it. And it's taking your data and it's learning everything about you. I mean, this is heavy. I hate to put this at the end. I really do. And I hope a lot of you hear it and make it this far. But it is. It's pretty disturbing, guys. And that coming to this realization, you're winning. Like if you arrived at this point before and you listen to this, hats off to you, because understanding the issue and the problem like helps you deal with it and know how to walk away from it. And that's the thing. Like that's something I'm going to do. I started this year, like I'm going to do more rucks, and I'm running again. It's been a year since I really ran, and I haven't ran consistently for quite some time. So I'm going to try to get back into maybe rucking one week and running the next, and getting more in there to get my weight loss better and dialed in. But hey, that's less time that I'm spending on social media, and just try to like away from that stuff and do things without the phones. Put them away some. I know if you got teenage, it's hard, but try to limit that stuff, because it does have a hand in your productivity, your mental well-being. If you want to be prepared, mental preparedness is probably job one. You got to be mentally prepared where you can do all the rest. That's all I got for y'all this time. Stay safe out there. Be careful with your social media. Peace.